guys, welcome back to my channel, Keto with Sammy. For today's video is very exciting video today. If you follow me on Facebook, you know that a couple weeks ago I did post a keto red velvet cake that I had made, and I couldn't rave enough about it. It is an awesome cake. This is probably the best keto cake that I have made by far. It is very good, very moist and delicious. So I hope y'all really enjoy this recipe that I'm going to show y'all today, and let's get straight into this video. Alright guys, so for today's ingredients, you're going to want some parchment paper. This is very important. I did try to use the spray at one point and it did not work out. It still stuck. So parchment paper is very important for this so your cakes do not stick to your pans. Do not use wax paper. A lot of people get confused between parchment and wax. Wax is just going to melt into your cake, so parchment paper is best. You're going to want some heavy whipping cream, some vanilla, some red food coloring for the color, some unsweetened cocoa powder, half a cup of butter, 1 cup of Greek yogurt, 6 large eggs, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, some almond flour, Stevia for our sweetener, or you can use any low carb sweetener that you prefer, some coconut flour. This right here is the Swerve confectioner sugar. Make sure it's not granular. This is the confectioner, the white powder kind. And for our icing, we are going to be using some mascarpone cheese. You could actually use one of these if you don't really care how it looks. If you're just going to eat it at home, you could use one, but I prefer to use 2 because I use one for the crumb coat and one so it gets that smooth white icing, but 1 is okay. So now you want to get a large bowl, and we're going to start mixing our wet ingredients together. So you want to crack all 6 large eggs. You want to add your 1 cup of our Greek yogurt, half a cup of butter, and I did melt it down, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. You want to mix this until all well incorporated. And now we're going to put this to the side and start mixing our dry ingredients together. Now we're going to get a smaller bowl and start mixing our dry ingredients. You're going to want 1 cup of our almond flour, half a cup of our coconut flour, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons of our baking powder, and 1 cup of our stevia. And you're going to mix this together until well incorporated. So now that we have our wet ingredients and our dry ingredients, all you're going to do is add your dry ingredients into your wet ingredients, and then we're going to mix it well. And just give it a good mix until well combined. Alright, so this is our cake batter, and all we need to do is make it red. So this is where your red food coloring comes in, and you just add as much as you want. If you want it really dark red, you could add more. If you want it light, you could add less. Just add a little at a time, and just make sure it's mixed in well. Alright guys, so here is our red velvet cake batter, and now all we're going to do is divide it into our cake pans. So earlier I did cut my parchment paper. All I did was trace it, the shape of the pan, and cut it out, and I laid them in here. These are 9-inch baking pans, and all you're going to do is pour your batter as even as possible into both pans. And once you have your batter poured in, you just want to shake them to get them nice and even. And now we're just going to pop these in the oven. So I popped our cakes in the oven at 350 degrees, and you're going to bake these for about 25 to 30 minutes until you can stick a toothpick in and it comes out clean. So just keep your eye on them. You don't want to burn them. Alright guys, so I pulled my cakes out the oven. As you can see, I checked it right here with the fork. If it comes out clean, they are ready. And I am going to set my cakes on a wire rack. You want these cakes to completely cool down. So setting them on a wire rack completely cools them all around, so it's not sitting at the bottom, and it can cool down at the bottom as well. You do want to make sure these cakes completely cool down, because if you don't, when we ice them, it's just going to melt right off. So it may take about 30 minutes to an hour. Just keep filling them. If they feel completely cool to the touch, then they are ready to start icing. Alright guys, so once our cakes are almost completely cooled down, we're going to start making our icing. And today I'm going to be using my stand mixer. If you do not have one and you want to check one out, I will link it in the description below. But if you do not have one, you can just use your hand mixer. And I'm going to only be making one packet of the cheese first. And then in a little bit, I'll make the other one. So if you want to make two at one time, you just double up these ingredients. So just put your mascarpone cheese into your mixer. And then you want to slowly start mixing this until smooth. Once it's getting smooth, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla while it's still mixing. While it's still mixing, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. And you could stop it and scrape the sides down if you need to. While it's still mixing, you're going to add half a cup of our Swerve confectioners sugar. And you don't want to overmix this, so when it's nice, smooth, and creamy, you want to turn it off. And you do want a nice, runny, smooth consistency, just like this. And now we're going to start icing our cakes. Alright guys, so whatever you're putting your cake on, you want to get it prepared. We have our cooled down cake right here. And I did just go around the edges with it with the fork so it gets loosened. And we're just going to flip it out very carefully. And either you need to peel the parchment paper off or it will come right off. And you just want the flat side facing up. And now we're going to start icing because we want a middle layer of icing. And you don't want it too thick, you want to do it pretty thin. So once you have your middle layer of icing, we're going to start flipping out our other cake for on top. And then you want the smooth part on top again. So you have a nice area to put your icing on. And now we're just going to put the rest of our icing. And this is going to be our crumb coat. And if not, you can just leave it like this with 1 set of our mascarpone cheese. And guys, I am not a professional baker. So if this don't come out too pretty, I apologize. Just do the best that you can. Alright guys, so I finished the first layer of icing on my cake. So this is called the crumb coat. As you can see, it's kind of crummy. If you want it like this, you can definitely eat it like this. But I'm going to put a second coat of icing. So now what I'm going to do is set this cake in the fridge for 15 minutes until it's firm to the touch. So when I make our second layer of icing, it will go on nice and smooth. So now I'm just going to pop this in the fridge. Alright guys, so my icing's set in the fridge, and I did whip up my second batch of icing. It's the same ingredients, same measurements, just this is a second one. So I'm just going to ice it again. Alright guys, so I finished the second layer of my icing for our keto red velvet cake. As you can see, it is much smoother and much whiter. You are still going to have a little bit of red, but that's okay. And now I'm going to slice into it and show y'all what the inside looks like. And I'm just going to tell y'all right now, this is a cake that you do want to have set in the fridge. You do not want to leave it out because this icing will get all ugly and melty and it will go bad. So make sure you do keep this cake in the fridge. So I'm just going to cut a piece. This cake is really moist inside. This is my favorite cake by far that I have made. I can't get enough of this cake. So I hope y'all really enjoy this recipe. When y'all do try it out, let me know down in the comments below how y'all enjoyed it. And this is the inside of our cake, guys. As you can see, it's very moist and very soft. Alright guys, so that concludes today's video of our keto red velvet cake. If you do give this recipe a try, please let me know down in the comments below how y'all liked it. Please like this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all in my next video.